Is ESPN already regretting their massive 1.625 billion deal with WWE? Actor and former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. says yes. And he says he heard it straight from someone inside Disney, but now WWE and ESPN are firing back, denying everything and throwing more shade than a WrestleMania stage set. So today I'm breaking down the somewhat possible real story behind the claims, the responses, the politics, and whatever this billion-dollar partnership is already showing cracks. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Tea Drop. This is your weekly wrestling business deep dive, where we take the rumors, the reports, the backstage chaos, and break it down with no soft behavior, because that's not allowed here. And today's topic: the biggest WWE media story of 2025 so far. Freddie Prinze Jr. says ESPN is unhappy. WWE says, who is this man? ESPN says everything is great. And the truth somewhere in the middle. And that's where hopefully we can find out today. Let's start with the man who lit this fuse. Freddie Prinze Jr. Before we judge Freddie's comments, though, we need to make this clear. Freddie Prinze Jr. wasn't just some celebrity hanging around backstage. He actually worked for the WWE twice. His first run in 2008 to 2009, WWE creative writer. He was a WWE creative writer. Freddie joined the writing team full-time. He worked directly with John Cena, Jericho, Edge, and even Jeff Hardy. He helped produce promos, segment scripts, storylines, the whole 9 yards. But by early 2009, he left due to his brutal travel conditions, creative frustration, and the non-stop grind of WWE's schedule. His run 2, from 2010-2012, he was part of the production team and he was a talent coach. He helped develop promos, built characters, coach younger stars, produce backstage segments. He also openly admits producing The Undertaker's once being one of the most intimidating moments in his life. So yes, he's an actor, but he genuinely has some real WWE experience, which makes what he says next even more explosive. In 2025, WWE signed a historic deal with ESPN worth $1.625 billion for premium live events to stream exclusively on ESPN's new platform. The deal included what just got released, the WrestlePalooza in Indianapolis, last week's Survivor Series, the upcoming Royal Rumble in Riyadh, and WrestleMania 42 once again going in Las Vegas, which is expected to be probably the biggest streaming event ESPN had ever handled. On paper, huge W for both parties. Behind the scenes, it potentially, allegedly, not so smooth. So on his podcast, Wrestling with Freddie Prinze Jr. said he spoke with Disney, a Disney contact, a friend of his, and that the contact told him the following.
But they love him now, and it's his final pay-per-view on ESPN. ESPN, by the way, is so unhappy with the deal. I was talking to a friend of mine who works for Disney, and he was just like, yo, they better make their money back on this deal. Like he said, they're hot. But anyway, you guys, we got to buy more PLEs. A premium, just call it a pay-per-view. People would remember that and they would buy them. Maybe. But anyway.
So yeah, what I was saying, ESPN is unhappy with the deal. They better make their money back. They're hot, apparently, according to Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie literally said ESPN is mad already over the $1 billion price tag. He took a swipe at WWE's branding shift from pay-per-view to PLE. Just call it a pay-per-view, maybe. Maybe would buy them, maybe. Which I thought was funny that he said maybe. Which, the way he ended it, I thought it was a little comical. So naturally, the wrestling world blew up when he stated that. But then eventually the company started responding. Before I get to that, let's be real. ESPN did spend a lot of money, and it's unfair. And well, I'm sure they'll make it up because they're charging $30 for those who don't have. There you go. Yeah, for WWE is charging, or not even WWE. ESPN is charging $30 for you to get the ESPN app, unless you have a cable deal. So, for example, for me, I have Verizon, Fios, and through that package, I'm able to get the ESPN app for free. I just have to. It was a weird way to get it set up. I had to like ask them for it so they can give it to me. I couldn't just log in like you do with other apps with your provider, which I thought was weird, but whatever. Otherwise, you pay $30. If you get the Disney bundle, it's like X amount of money. So it's ridiculous. From our once beloved WWE Network, rest in peace, in this country at least, for $9.99. And we barely get most of the content that we were promised when they started doing these transitions. Once WWE left, they canceled the network here, and they moved their stuff first to Peacock. We barely got all the programs that we once had. It wasn't organized as it once was. Like WWE Network was beautifully organized with all their content. They separated well. It was very easy to find whatever you wanted. And if not, I think there was a search engine that you could have found it. Now with Peacock, it's hard to find. And eventually they moved from Peacock to, they started splitting stuff with Netflix, and that's a mess. They have to, if you guys don't know, WWE has a vault of video content and YouTube called, I think, WWE Vault, which they go live with some past pay-per-views or shows, and they put it on there. Which maybe that'll be the future of the network. I wouldn't mind paying $9.99 for an organized YouTube page of that, but at that point, you might as well bring back the network, which is whatever. I'm fine with the network not having the premium live event the first time, but give me some back content. I just miss it, but that's me personally. But back to ESPN. Since ESPN, WrestlePalooza was garbage, Survivor Series was garbage, Crown Jewel was okay, and you can thank John Cena and AJ Styles for that. It's just all the pay-per-views bad, which is, I feel it's a constant thing when these companies get a new TV deal. They work hard up to the point of that they get the TV deal, and then they get lazy. That's what AEW has done it, but even before AEW done it, it was WWE. When they got that Fox deal for SmackDown, they had a bomb premiere. And if anyone forgot that bomb premiere, it's the premiere where the main event, you had WWE champ Kofi Kingston getting botched for 5 minutes by Brock Lesnar. And we can say stuff about Brock Lesnar, but I don't feel like it right now. Anyway, I'll say it. He tends to take the belt from all the black champs. It's like, oh, we need to take the belt from a black champ. Bring Brock Lesnar. Here he comes. He did it to Big E. He did it to Kofi. Who else did he do it to? He did it to Bobby Lashley. So anyway, that's out of the story, out of context. But anyway, they tend to get lazy when they get these big money shows, and Netflix. I'm hearing that they haven't gotten the views that they wanted, because the amount of views that Netflix has gotten from WWE now, Stranger Things got it within a week of their new season premiere, which we can say, well, Stranger Things is more popular amongst a wider audience, which I agree. But over a year since now, it took them that long to get those views, so it's questionable. Where Netflix might be another people that are potentially mad. So, and now because of all this crap, yeah, all the brands, all the shows are in different places. We got SmackDown on USA, we got NXT on Peacock and CW, we got Raw on Netflix. Now we got premium live events in ESPN. So it's just a mishmash of crap. What I'm trying to get at is, I don't know. I honestly, it's just frustrating seeing that they don't try hard after they get this deal. And it's about time that these companies need to figure out a better method when they write these contracts and say, you get this contract, but if you don't give us X amount of results in ratings and views within the first year, we have a clause to drop you. And they should do that. For that amount of money, definitely put some clauses on that. But anyway, let's move on. So these companies finally do response. And Sean Ross from Fightful reached out to both sides, both ESPN and WWE, and he replies with this. He said he asked sources on WWE about Freddie Prinze Jr.'s comment about ESPN being unhappy with WWE. A WWE higher up said no one in the WWE upper management is aware of Freddie Prinze Jr.'s role in wrestling or otherwise. Translation, we're not validating this, or we're pretending he didn't even work here. Like, Freddie Prinze who? Who's that? He ain't nobody. ESPN's responds that they haven't heard that chatter, and say we haven't heard that chatter and have enjoyed working with WWE. Translation, please stop this story before it spreads. AKA. Sorry. Anyway. So on record, both companies deny both of these stories. But then ESPN's president stepped in with his own message. He stepped on him with more. On the SI Media podcast, Burke Magnus said, the partnership has been great so far. He talked about WWE talent being extremely engaged, strong communication, the promotion synergy, and he specifically said Survivor Series going to, and this was back then when he had that before Survivor Series. He was saying that Survivor Series is going to be a really good measuring stick for how things are going. So they're watching the numbers closely. So he hoped, because Survivor Series one of the big four or the big five, that this will be the first real test on future events, especially since it was War Games. You would expect it. So let's break it down a little bit. ESPN truly did pay a lot. 1.6 billion is massive. Disney is cutting costs everywhere, so yeah, executives want results. This is a new platform. That's another thing. The ESPN platform. New platforms always face pressure to deliver. And yeah, Survivor Series performance does matter at the time when they thought the show would do good, but that we all know how that show turned out. They would probably hope that the show would be hot, but that show was a mishmash, as we talked last week. So Freddie may be hearing from one frustrated person as far as we know. That may not even have a good connection. Who knows? It's all alleged at this point. It could be one exec, one analysis, one strategist in Disney. Not necessarily the whole company. It could just be one person's opinion that Freddie talked about. The problem is how he delivered it, making it sound like he talked to someone that is talking on behalf of all of Disney. WWE has zero interest in letting this narrative grow, so that's why they closed it quick. If networks start thinking WWE isn't worth the price, it becomes bad business for them, so it's very important for them to nuke the story immediately. ESPN doesn't want chaos, obviously, either. They need to deal with this, and it's bad press before WrestleMania and the WrestleMania season, so they either are telling the truth based on their interviews, the ESPN interview, or they're just gonna do their strategy for denying. So Freddie did hit a sore spot, and fans, do they actually? I mean, look, sorry, Freddie hit a sore spot with fans also with the whole thing with pay-per-view and PLE. I don't know about you guys. I still call it pay-per-view. I don't care, but it doesn't matter at this point. Pay-per-view, PLE. At this point, we all know what we're talking about. So they had to change the branding, especially during the streaming era. They didn't at the beginning of the WWE Network, but after a year or a few months in, they did change it to PLE because it's not pay-per-view. You're not paying per the view. You're paying per the whole month or whatever. Anyway, I don't think there's no point of going back to the pay-per-view terminology unless they 100% focus on just doing pay-per-views, which they're not for the foreseeable future. So at this point, this to me, this story is dead. I just felt like talking about it because I thought it was hilarious when we have podcasters out there trying to tell what they think and they spill these beans without getting the factual facts, which is important, guys. Either wait for the story to develop more or make sure you get your sources right, because he didn't, and now the higher ups are going crazy to nuke the story. The next big milestone for WWE is going to be WrestleMania 42, but even before that, it is going to be the Royal Rumble, which will be in Saudi. So not many people are going. It's going to be a very big televised event. So if anything, I think Royal Rumble may be a bigger viewership for ESPN, and that may give them those streaming numbers that they're hoping for. But we will have to see. It all depends on WWE and storytelling and the matching setup. Otherwise, they're going to underperform the same way they did in Survivor Series. So hopefully we might start hearing some good stories. But right now this just feels like one frustrated exec venting to Freddie Prinze and him just repeating whatever he said. WWE and ESPN protecting the public narrative and the truth sitting somewhere in the middle that we won't know unless they open up about it and just spill it as it is. So now it's our turn at this point. Let me know in the comments what you think. Is it factual what Freddie said, or is it just a fib or a frustrated person? Do you think ESPN overpaid for WWE's content? Is there really tension behind the scenes? Or is Freddie's story just blown out of proportion? Let me know in the comments. I will read them and respond. Hit the like. And thanks, everyone. We'll catch you on the next one.